Welcome back. Now, to deliberate on this issue of remittances, the inflow, and what exactly is happening in between, and whether we are getting the true values that are being reported, we have Dr. Richmond Echiahine. He joins me in the studio. He's a corporate governance and banking consultant. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, too.
I was just teasing him before we got on that. I remember the last conversation we had and how he was spitting fire all over the place. But let's quickly take a look at some of the details in respect of Ghana's remittances, inward remittances. So very quickly, if you look at that chart, Ghana's missing $1 billion. That's the question. Now, the Bank of Ghana on remittances says, quote, current transfers largely comprising private remittances recorded a net inflow of $3.93 billion in 2023 compared with $3.57 billion at net flow in 2022. It also says the relative stability in the exchange market in 2023 was due to improved inflows from the first tranche of the IMF ECF and then the domestic gold purchase program remittances and foreign exchange purchases from mining and oil companies, as well as tight monetary policy. So that's the reason they give in there. But if you look at the question of the missing dollars vis-a-vis the schedule of earnings from dealer commercial banks for the half years ended 30th June 2023 and 30th June 2022, you would see some discrepancy there. So if you look at half year one, which is 2022, you would see $934.5 million. But you come to half year 2023 and you're looking at $1.3 billion. That's an upward trend of about $300+ million, almost 350, thereabouts, $350+ million. But how does it compare when you look at it vis-a-vis World Bank data? So Bank of Ghana, what it says, and the World Bank, what it says. You would notice that the Bank of Ghana data is the one in violet or purple, and the World Bank data is the one in green. Now look at the trend. The Bank of Ghana's data, 1.8 billion in dollar terms, shoots up to 10.7 billion in 2017. And then since that time, there was a decline between 2017 and 2018 to 1 billion. And that decline has increased only marginally. So 2 billion in 2019, 2.3 billion in 2020, 2.1 billion in 2021, and same figure in 2022. So some sort of stagnation. But interestingly, when you look at the World Bank data, you would find that when we were reporting 1.8 billion, they were reporting 3 billion. When we were reporting about 10.7 billion, they were reporting about 3.5 billion. And that trend has continued. So 3.5, 4.1, 4.3, 4.5, and 4.7. The question is, where lies the discrepancies? Why are there these discrepancies? Are there some that are going underreported or completely unreported? Now, again, the BOG says, in 2023, 11 licensed fintech companies provided inward remittance services to customers. The total value of remittances received in 2023 was 57 billion Ghana cedis compared to 18 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. What happened in between? That's an adjustment of over 30 billion Ghana cedis. And according to the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, it goes on and on different sections. All authorized dealer banks must comply with all the sections of the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723. But is that happening? That's the question. Is that happening? If you look at the IAS 21, it outlines how to account for foreign currency transactions and operations in financial statements, and also how to translate financial statements into a presentation of currency. So we'll get you more details on that. But to address some of these discrepancies and everything in between, Dr. Echiahine is here to give us enlightenment. Any surprises? Around 18 billion Ghana cedis, all of a sudden we are jumping to 50+ billion, 57 billion to be exact. What exactly happened?
Thank you very much. I think I'll first start with the data shown on the World Bank and the Bank of Ghana audited accounts by the Auditor General. We have been underreporting for a long time. And I think what has made these figures that you're talking about, 57 billion, quite astronomical is that it means that we have two system reporting. We have the banks who are supposed to report on remittances, which actually reflect on what the Bank of Ghana reported. And then we have,
which the law requires them to do.
Yeah, the law, according to the Foreign Exchange Act, 2006-723 is mandated for all authorized dealer bank to report all foreign exchange transactions, including remittances.
Right.
So the authorized dealer banks under the foreign exchange have been reporting for Bank of Ghana to be able to capture it in the report. However, when you come to what the Bank of Ghana audited account 203, that is where I have a little bit challenge.
You mean 2023?
23, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in that space, it said 53 billion cedis. You know, remittances doesn't come in cedis.
Exactly.
It doesn't come in cedis.
They come in foreign currency.
It comes in foreign currency.
But we pay out
and then we translate it in cedis. That is why we talk about the IAS 21. All foreign exchange must be translated into the local currency to be captured. That is what you say the IAS 20, International Accounting Standard 21.
21, yeah.
That is, it makes you. But unfortunately, when you look at the Bank of Ghana published account, the audited account published in 2003, the foreign currency is silent. So the question that we want to ask, are other people holding on the foreign exchange? When we are looking for foreign exchange all over the place, we are going to Bahamas, asking for 1-point-something billion. We are asking the IMF to give us 360 million. If you have all these remittances, at least even 5 billion, let's forget about 2022. I believe the CD would have stabilized.
Now, the current IMF program we're under, how much are we getting in total? 6 billion.
Yes.
Now, if last year alone, the remittances that came in
to the fintech,
through the fintechs, if the sum is about 5+ billion. I see where you are going. In dollar or pound or euro terms put together, something doesn't add up, right?
It is far more exceedingly above. And I believe that I would urge the Minister of Finance and even plead with the World Bank and the IMF country directors to look at this thing for us. Because you see, we are not in a global world. Let me tell you a story. Bangladesh have inflows about 21.9 billion this year. What have they done? They have enhanced the methodology by which these dollars are tracked, captured, traced, and they all dovetail into the central banking system. So that the central bank is always, has got foreign exchange. I mean, our competitors in Sri Lanka, who are also facing the same challenge, they depend so much on remittances that every month they are getting over $400 million to support the currency. But in our case, what is happening is that part of the foreign exchange is somewhere, the banks are reporting genuinely according to the Foreign Exchange Act, and then we get the fintech who has just been licensed since 2019, who are not actually accounting for these foreign exchange. So my question is that to avoid these discrepancies and misreporting, I think a time has come for us to look at the Foreign Exchange Act and make sure that everybody reports. What we can do, what we used to do earlier, when we have the Western Union, when we have the MoneyGram, when we have the MoneyGram, what they do is that there is an arrangement to pay commission for them to collect all these data and bring the money to the banking system, say ADB.
Right.
ADB gets the Western Union money, then importers can go there and get money to buy. I mean, I've done it before in the bank. I bought 28 billion to import oil when I was in a bank.
Wow.
Yes. That is why the remittances are so crucial. And don't forget, currently, remittances is bigger than cocoa.
True.
Remittances is bigger than
many
gold.
sectors.
Yes. So if other countries, and we in the whole world, we are in Africa, we are the next to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria is expected to get 28 billion. Yeah. And last year we were expected to get about 7.2 billion.
Right.
But even if you add the banks and what the fintechs, I'm not sure we are close to the amount of money. And people are traveling all over, migrants all over the world. And I believe that a time has come for us to be very proactive, to track, trace, and capture all these foreign exchange. If we do that, the CD will stabilize. Our current account deficit position would improve. And the exchange rate the CD will not be drifting like that.
Of course, why our CD always flip-flops is because once there's a scarcity of the dollar, then, demand and supply challenges. And then our currency begins to depreciate. There are other factors, of course. But having said that, are you saying then that these fintechs are seemingly operating outside of IAS 21 or its requirements?
No.
And in that case, whatever you say, who benefits if these sums of money come into the country and are unaccounted for?
Well, that is the true reflection of the cedi depreciating. Because if the dollar, all this equivalent of the 5 billion, has dovetailed into the banking system, the cedi will stabilize. The Bank of Ghana will have more reserves so that we will not have the pain that we are going through at the moment. Now, what they did in 2019 Act 987, the Payment Service and Settlement Act, which brought in this fintech, they have been licensed. But when it comes to the accountability of the foreign exchange, as the banks are doing, they are not doing it. So I'm saying that we can't have two teams in the same field, one playing according to one regulations, one playing according to one rules. I believe we should all stick to the Foreign Exchange Act 2006-723 and make sure that we comply with all the 22 sections so that everybody would have to come on board so that the dollar or the pound, the euro, will be dovetailed into the banking system.
But when you say that, then it means some people are not complying. But the Bank of Ghana is supposed to regulate all of this, right?
Yes, under the Payment and Service Act, which they passed in 2019, they're supposed to be regulated. But you see, it was silent about how these foreign money would dovetail into our foreign exchange. Unlike the Foreign Exchange Act, it is so specific that no bank, it says, let me say it, it said authorized dealer banks and Bank of Ghana. They were the only people who are supposed to deal with our foreign exchange. Then came in the Payment Service Act, but it was silent about the accountability of the Foreign Exchange Act. So I believe it is never too late. At least 2022, 18 billion, maybe 3 billion, 18 billion cedis, translated into 3 billion. I mean, 2023 is about, according to the Bank of Ghana policy, 57. I think some people are benefiting from the foreign exchange. And I believe the state, the country, should be all up and doing to be able to track, trace, and capture all foreign exchange.
Now, this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Ghana is on the ropes.
Doesn't make sense.
Where we've submitted a program that the IMF is, overseeing for us. We're in dire straits. Our exchange rate is bad. Which country, logically, would do what we are doing? Which brings me back to the point. If it doesn't make sense, there's probably something in there. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, flies like a duck, it probably is a duck. So the question is, who is likely benefiting from all of this? Well, because they come in, people complain. Maybe I get a remittance. You're giving me cedis, and you're giving me a poor rate. Okay? You're not giving me the dollars or euros or pounds. So where is that going? Who is likely benefiting from this?
I mean, those new licensed institutions, I can say it from the Bank of Ghana report, the new licensed institutions are benefiting as against the previous practice where the authorized dealer banks have this money to support the economy. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense because when I read the law, I have read all the Payment Service Act, I've read all the Foreign Exchange Act, and I ask myself, how on earth you are looking for 3 billion for a program, and then you are allowing some people to withhold over 5 billion only for this year, equivalent? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, that would be the portion of the 5 billion that goes to the fintechs and not through the traditional.
No, the traditional
banks.
people have submitted their report.
Exactly. But I'm saying that, I mean, the ones that go. Is that to say the fintechs don't submit a report? They do, right?
What you see, it is not about submitting of the report. It's the accountability of what we call the nostril balances, the foreign exchange balances you trade up. Because those who brought in the money, they brought in foreign exchange.
Right.
And then you will sit here and give me cedis. And let me tell you, Mr. Kapo, I think it's not the first time we have done it. We've done it when I was in a bank. There was an arrangement between Western Union, MoneyGram, and Royal, where a certain commission will go to those institutions, and then the rest of the foreign exchange would now be transferred into the either central bank or ADB or SSB, those days SGS, so that they will support the economy. So what I'm saying is that we need to streamline it. I mean, exactly 10 years ago, let me bring you to speed. 10 years ago, there was something that happened in the foreign exchange market. I was invited. I've forgotten those who hosted the program. That was radio. And after speaking on this, people got to know that there was something wrong. Because people who had dollars under the FCA account, foreign exchange account, were supposed to go and collect cedis. And I say, no, if you have told me earlier, that is 2014. If you have told me earlier, I would not have deposited my foreign currency with a bank because there is no law that stops FSA or FCA.
Right.
So when they did it, I came to the studio and I explained, because a lot of people don't seem to understand this fintech 57 billion. A lot of people don't even appreciate that there is a foreign exchange act which everybody, every institution is accountable. And there is one section, section 15. It says that if we withhold a certain foreign exchange, you can go for prison for 10 years. I didn't say it. It is the law. So I believe that the playing field must be leveled for both the fintech and the authorized dealer bank so that these dollars or euro or pound or kwacha or rand would all come into the system to support the economy. That is why I'm so...
So you're basically saying that for the traditional banks, when they mop up these dollars, euros, Swiss francs, rand, and everything, they submit reports on that, so they forward that to the central bank.
Exactly, you're right.
But with these fintechs, there's no traceability, there's no tracking. We only take their word for it. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Exactly. I can confirm what you're saying.
You know what would be interesting?
Yes.
To find out who is behind some of these fintechs.
Well,
the people, and I'm not saying one person, but I'm asking who are behind these fintechs.
There are 11
that will answer some of the questions.
Yeah, there are 11 institutions that has been. It is the governor. Is the statement. 11 licensed institutions, and I'm saying who I know it.
Who licensed them?
No, I know the institutions because you see, I've done a paper.
I mean, we don't have to mention them.
No, I won't mention their name. I have published an international paper on the Journal of Social Sciences. Ghana's bankers' remittances, issues and challenges. It was published recently and that is where I got much interested in investigating more into the remittances. That is how, when I saw the Bank of Ghana statement, that 57 billion, I said, look, this thing validates and confirm my statement. So now the question for us all as a nation, why do we do harm to ourselves?
Are you suggesting that the central bank in itself, whether through actions or inactions, is causing harm, maybe even financial loss?
Well, from the figures that is in front of me, if you ask me, then I can confirm it. Because even the publication...
So that is a yes?
Yes. Even in the publication of the account. That is why I find it quite unbelievable. IAS, International Accounting Standard, 21 says that all foreign exchange should be translated. But when you go into the Bank of Ghana account, you only find cedis. So you don't even know the foreign currency that was translated into, unless you use the closing rate, which I used. The closing rate at that time at 11 point something. So I ended up in 5 billion. Because ideally, and also the auditors who did that should also be asked to be questioned. Because in all international practices, all best practices, IAS 21 must say the value of the foreign exchange that was translated into cedis. No, if it's not done, that accounting firm hasn't done his job totally.
And the question is how this has been allowed to go on for so long, and if it has gone on for so long, what the watchdog, the regulator, was doing in between, for which reason you say the Bank of Ghana is culpable, and what has happened in between. How much have we lost as a country?
Exactly.
Only God,
only God knows. As we sit here, I'm only calculating the 57. And the 22, they actually, I don't know what's happened.
I have seen reports in the past that suggest that we could have earned so much more and that we've lost many billions to this. What is your guesstimate?
Well, if you're not tracing and capturing, what we call track tracing and capturing, you're going to lose it. You see, and we're not the only country in the world. That is, I find it quite unbelievable. I quite find it unbelievable. Remittances has been some of one of the key components of balance sheet composition. Yeah. And under the IMF publication, they call BPM 7 or 8, you are required to capture this in your final year statement. But it's only the banking sector. The banks who send a report under the Foreign Exchange Act will be captured. I didn't see it in the fintech in the 2022. I didn't see it in the 2023. So somebody somewhere should be able to tell me, as I'm speaking to you, I want somebody to react, to tell me that what I'm saying is not true. And then he should justify where the foreign exchange is. Act, where the foreign exchange 5 billion, as I'm just calculating in the 3 billion Act. So
where is it sitting?
Where is it?
And why is our currency facing the hurdles it is? But do you think that maybe something is being done right, which is why we moved from 18 billion and now we've jumped over 30 billion to 57 billion? Do you think something, it's about almost 39 billion added on, has something changed?
What has changed is that they're now using these blockchains and the fintech.
Right.
Immediately, you get your city. But you see, when you get your city, Ben, nobody is tracking who is holding the dollar. Whether it's these companies in UK or America who have actually been strategized with what we call the strategic alliance with some of these institutions that has been licensed, who they use their technology. Technology is effective because even in governor's statement, the statement he proved, he said innovative. Innovative. He said it's been very innovative. Innovation does not mean that you circumvent the law.
Right.
You don't circumvent the Foreign Exchange Act 2006-723. My worry is that why do we have two teams playing in the same area with different regulations and different rules? So that is my only concern. If somebody can tell me that what I'm saying is not true, I'll then let him bring down the figures and tell me where do we find this fintech money in the Ghana balance sheet.
So where does the accountability lie? Finance Ministry, Central Bank, where does the accountability lie?
It starts from the Finance Ministry because there's no Bank of Ghana supervisor, it's the Finance Ministry. So I'm saying that the Finance Ministry and Bank of Ghana should either revisit this issue. Can't we use what is using in Bangladesh? You can use it. Bangladesh, about 90% of remittances go through the banking system. They use the fintech, but the fintechs have been done in such a way that the banks have actually collaborated, what we call strategic alliance.
So there's a nexus.
So that's right. So that this money comes into the system. But unfortunately, if you license them outside or you're not regulating them and you think that they can do ta-ta-ta, but nobody is accounting for the currency, that is where my worry is. And I'm urging them, and I'm even pleading using your platform, as I did in 2014. I pleaded with the IMF representative in Ghana, World Bank representative in Ghana, that they should listen to me. I'm saying somebody should listen to me because it is quite disheartening. City is running like Usain Bolt, where we could have even supported the city, and the city could have been, as Bloomberg said, currently it says one of the, is it not the fourth worst currency in Africa?
I mean, we've moved from at a point, even in the world, only the Sri Lanka.
Where remittances alone
was
I believe remittances bigger than cocoa, bigger than gold. If we capture it, trace it very well, I think all these hardships we're going through, we wouldn't experience it. Because Ben, let me tell you, Raymond, let me tell you, I have bought 28 billion to support oil from ADB in 2007.
So you've done it before?
I've seen it before. You see, the thing that I'm saying, I am a practitioner. And Ben, let me tell you, I am the only person who has published a finance of international trade in Ghana, and I've been teaching this subject before I came on retirement. So when it comes to international trade, and don't forget, when Ghana was setting the export program in the 80s, I was one of the officers who did the pineapple export. So my heart is for export. And my heart is for remittances.
Let me just do this as we wrap the conversation. So this one says, Frederick Asenso Reku says, what is the full name of Dr. Etiahene? I'll be glad to know in order to read his paper on Ghana's remittances. It's Dr. Richmond Etiahene. He's a corporate governance and banking consultant. And in fact, his book, you can grab a copy, Finance of International Trade. Finance of International Trade. And the journal
is Journal of Social Sciences.
Journal of Social Sciences.
If you go there, you'll see my article, well published. And all these issues are there already.
So just key in Journal of Social Sciences, key in Dr. Richmond Etiahene, and I'm sure you'll get his work there. Two quick questions before we go. How do we realign the system? How do we streamline the system to make it as efficient, as effective as the Bangladeshis and maybe even the Vietnams and others are doing? And I want you to quickly add, when you're done, Ghana's banking sector cleanup. Just quickly on that. Has it yielded the sort of returns we want? That'll be the final bit, because you're a banking consultant.
Let me finish with the foreign exchange.
Yeah.
I think, like in a good book, we've been knocked down, but not destroyed. We may have made a mistake. But that is not the only way. Because if you look at the migrants who have left the shore of Ghana, the foreign exchange, if we do very well with our foreign exchange with remittances, I don't think we'll be able to help us to pay some of our debts.
True.
So I believe that we should learn from the best practices. And I always pick the Sri Lanka and Bangladeshi.
Right.
Let people travel what I'm saying to go and confirm that what I'm saying is wrong. If it's right, they are capturing all these, tracing, tracking, and capturing. Right. And it all comes into the pool to help the central bank and the banks.
Right.
Now, on the banking sector.
And of course, recently GN Bank, Papokosi Indum has been calling for, and all of that. Some are also lambasting him for holding their money. Quick thoughts on that. 1 minute. Let's go.
Thank you very much. I mean, I would start from the historical antecedent. You know, this issue of banking crisis, I think if you understand the historical antecedent, you appreciate it. It was in the IMF country report 2014-2015 that some of the banks are almost gone.
Right.
But they should be able to clear it. However, at that time, we didn't summon courage. We didn't summon courage. And when the new government came, she also summoned the courage, but you didn't think through thoroughly. Because you see, let me give you this information. Currently, they said government is owing 35 billion to contractors and owing 1.6 billion to energy sector. If you convert the energy, and that is close to 60 billion. If the same one government is owing 60 billion and the bank is going down, and then you think that that bank is not performing well, part of the problem is if you pay them. Exactly. If you pay them, like NIB, if they pay NIB 2.3 billion, as the minister said, NIB will be solvent. Yeah. So if Papa Kwesindum was saying this, I was saying that if he had done a contract. And he was talking about over 7 billion. And if he had been paid the 7 billion, I'm not sure the bank. So you see, the project was good, but the nuances of the project, we didn't let it thoroughly. I guess it speaks to many things that this administration has done. Some good things, but the implementation is where the devil is. No, at times some of the things are good. I mean, let me tell you, they have supported some. You know, I was going to talk about this export thing. You see, they have supported some. You see, we are going to after African Continental Trade. Have you ever asked those who come to your program, what are we taking there? I'm telling you, the only place that they have actually done for us is the pharmaceutical. Go to the pharmaceutical. When we go into the after, I think I'll take my hat off for these people. I mean, look at Magdan. The salt, is what we are going to take. Apart from that, we have nothing to after. So talking about it as if we produce something that can go there. So some things are good, but we should think through thoroughly and get a better understanding. At times, we can even get experts to do the thorough understanding. Currently, the banking sector you're talking about, it is nothing seriously. If you take the foreign banks out, most of the state banks, including the private domestic banks in Ghana, are struggling with capital, solvency. And these same banks were actually capitalized, if you remember GATS. You know GATS? The GATS, Yeah, those who took it, they are almost finished because the thing has choked them. What I'm saying is that we should always think through thoroughly and let experts come in and give independent advice. Yesterday, I listened to Lord Boatin. I take my heart out for him. He said something, and when he was reading his speech, I was sitting there and clapping myself, leadership, leadership, leadership. Immediately he mentioned leadership, I fell back. I said, this is where we lack it. We need proactive leaders so that whatever we do, we put the country first for the benefit of, not me, the generation, my children and my grandchildren, not my children, my great-grandchildren. So the banking sector cleanup to a certain extent was good. But what we're experiencing now, let me even add this to you. You know, just a final point. Final point. Recently, the governor himself said that the non-performing loans is 25.9. Let me make this statement categorically on your platform and let everybody listen to me. Go and read a paper that the governor himself also published, quoted Dietrich and Kuntz, saying that any country whose non-performing exceed 10%, that country banking sector is fully fledged in distress. Dr. Ernest Addison said that. He has a book. He wrote a paper And I took the paper and traced the source to IMF publication. He quoted it when he was at the research.
But today he is governor. And
today he's a governor. He quoted 10%, and today his is 25.9%. And whenever you talk about the district banking sector, you see, that is the good thing about we researchers. I pick you and go to the source.
Yeah.
I pick him. So the banking sector is not as we see.
Right. We're going to have to cap it off here. It's been a really exciting conversation. This final message, Nana Asafo J. Bafo says, what he is saying is very true. Two players in the same industry being regulated differently. The banks even face much more stringent regulations and laws. Doc, we're grateful for your time.
Thank you.
That has been Dr. Richmond Etuahene, corporate governance and banking consultant, and he's author and publisher of the book, Finance of International Trade.